automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. Your lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks drifted closer to their record as the world's two largest economies begin talks on trade that could help avoid a recession. The S&P 500 rose 0.1% and is 2.3% below the record it reached back in February. The Dow was flat. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.3%. Markets are waiting to hear what comes of trade talks between the United States and China that are taking place in London. Treasury yields slipped after a survey suggested consumers' expectations for coming inflation eased. Chinese stocks did rise, while indexes were mixed across the rest of Asia and Europe. The Dow was down 1 point to close at 42,761. The Nasdaq gained 61 to 19,591. The S&P 500 was up 5 points to 6,005. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. Warner Bros.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Monday evening forecast. Scattered thunderstorms remain possible into the evening and overnight hours. A few storms may be strong with heavy rain, wind, and lightning. Make sure to check the radar if you're heading out. Overnight lows drop to the low 70s. For Tuesday, expect highs in the upper 80s and a 40% chance of afternoon downpours or thunderstorms. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make The Point radio.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is Sports Talk Media Network. We begin another week with you here as we come to you from our studios in downtown Columbia. We have yours truly, Phil Kornblut, along with the plumber, Josh Cohen. Chris Bergen will be with us here momentarily, and we'll get his thoughts on what he witnessed over the weekend with Coastal Carolina going to the College World Series for the second time in their history. Of course, they won it all in 2016. And you know, if you pay close attention to this program, you might recall that Chris Bergen said, I'm not going to hold him to the date. I think it was back in March, might have been in April. He uttered something like, this Coastal team could win it all. And I'm like, yeah, right. And he's like, no, seriously, this Coastal team could win it all. They have got the pitching, and they have got the lineup. And Bergie, you know, you're a smart fellow, and you might be right on the point when you talk about this Coastal Carolina baseball team.
I appreciate that. Now, obviously, I have a little Regency bias into Coastal since I work with school, but just having seen them play throughout the year and knowing what they've got pitching-wise, and this is a pitching staff that was dinged up a little bit last year, or they might have had a better run than the NCAA tournament a season ago, and might have given Clemson fits in the Clemson Regional last year. But, you know, just watching what they've been able to accomplish, it's somewhat remarkable. First-year head coach. Now, I realize Kevin Snall is in the DNA of Coastal's program, having played there, having been an assistant under Gary Gilmore for as long as he was, and now taking over. It was an easy transition. It's the Chad Holbrook situation, but it's worked out probably a little bit better for Coastal than Coach Holbrook did at USC. Now, this is 1 year, but when you win 53 games in your first year and you get your team to the College World Series, you set the bar really high, don't you think?
I mean, what are you going to do for an encore? Of course, he ain't worried about that. I loved what he said after the regional win on Saturday, the super regional win on Saturday. Now, I don't know Coach Schnall. I think I've only met him once, and that was just one time. I think back in the days of baseball at the beach, I might have met him once, and I know more about him now as a head coach than I did back then when he was an assistant coach. One thing that strikes me about him, he seems to be a very direct individual. There does not seem to be a lot of gray area with him. And he made the comment after Coastal wrapped it up. He goes, "We're no Cinderella story. This was no accident.
No.
We're as good as anybody in the country, and don't look at us like some kind of mid-major freak." And, I mean, so he's not interested in going to Omaha and being the redheaded stepchild that's patted on the head and said and talked to like, "Hey, it's good to have you with us, but we know you're not going to be here very long." He's going there with the idea of winning the whole thing, which this team, as you pointed out, and if you've been following them here of late, 23 wins in a row, 53 wins overall. This team's good enough to beat anybody they face, and they'll be facing the team that last time they were on the dirt in Omaha, they're facing the team that they faced then.
Yeah, it's almost ridiculous how the similarities between 2016 and 2025 for Coastal have run side by side. That 2016 team had to go on the road the entire tournament. They didn't get to host as this year's team did, but they went to the NC State Raleigh Regional, got out of there, then had to go to an SEC powerhouse in LSU, beat the Tigers in 2 straight to advance to Omaha. This year's team wins their regional 3 straight. Then they go to an SEC powerhouse in the Auburn Tigers, sweep them, and instead of facing Arizona in the championship series, they're going to get a shot at the Wildcats right off the bat on Friday. But you're right, Phil, and he made that point to remind people, because I still think some of the Auburn media, you listen to them talk before the regional and then afterwards, I think they were somewhat surprised at how good Coastal was. Any of us who have followed them know they're a mid-major team because they're in what's deemed as a mid-major league, but they are not a mid-major program. As you pointed out, only 8 teams this more than Coastal, and so the Chanticleers have established themselves as somewhat like a Gonzaga in men's basketball. Mm-hmm. They are a powerhouse program, and they are going to be an awfully tough out in Omaha.
I mean, that's not a bad thing to be, except for the difference is, I mean, Coastal's got a full athletic department. I mean, football, basketball, baseball. I don't think Gonzaga does football out there. I could be wrong, but they do. It's lower level. I think they do baseball out there. Obviously, their basketball program rises above. Mm-hmm. But Coastal, it's been pretty amazing following the commentary, the reaction on X in particular, the reaction from the Coastal people, from the outgoing president to the AD. I mean, they are really taking this opportunity to pump Coastal up at every turn. They've sold all the tickets they said that they're trying to get some more. And, of course, if you're a Coastal fan, you want to go to Omaha, there's always, if you don't get a ticket, a reserve seat ticket, there's always the get in line and first come, first serve, standing room only general admission ticket for the outfield that you can get. So that you have to just determine yourself how you're going to handle that. But they're really taking the opportunity here to pump up the entire athletic program. And they also see this now in this world of NIL, and we're going to talk about that in a moment, as an opportunity to gain more fans and encourage people to give to the various sources there at Coastal Carolina so the winning can continue. Because let's face it, in this new era that was approved on Friday night, that becomes, well, it's effective now, but it becomes across the board effective on July 1. You're going to have to pump up the dollars to be competitive the way things are being set up for the most part. We'll get into all that in just a moment. I didn't want to steer away from this Coastal Carolina story because they just played 2 really good games of baseball on the road against the number 4. I think they were the number 4 seed. Yep. And, I mean, at certain points, you thought, okay, here comes the Auburn crush. You know, Coastal's they're going to give in here, the pressure of the moment, being on the road, You got maybe, 8,000 people crammed into that place, plus Auburn's a very good team. And Coastal always had an answer, whether it was the critical pitch, the big defensive play, coming up with the big home runs offensively. They always had an answer in those two games.
And I think in the first game, too, Phil, and first off, that was my first ever visit to Plainsman Park, and the job that Auburn University has done for that baseball program is phenomenal. Now, whether or not they're going to be able to continue to pump money into that baseball program with the tradition that it has. Keep in mind, this is a place that Tim Hudson pitched, Bo Jackson, Frank Thomas. They've had some really good, talented athletes go through that program. But with all this new NIL money that's coming in, football's going to want and take the majority of it. And then Bruce Pearl's going to come knocking on the door and say, hey, by the way, we've got a really good men's basketball program that has to be taken care of. And you wonder where baseball's going to fall for Auburn. But the one thing that I found fascinating, these two teams play an entirely different style of baseball, and you saw if you like good quality baseball, doing the little things, making the quality pitch, bunting, sacrifice, sack flies, making very few defensive mistakes. That's what Coastal did. Now, Auburn's defense is as good as any team I've ever seen, but their problem is on the offensive side of the coin. If they don't get the big 3-run home run, they have no answer. And I found it fascinating in the bottom of the ninth inning of Game 1, it was tied. Auburn had all the momentum. They'd come all the way back from the 6-1 deficit, going to the bottom of the ninth inning. They get the first two runners aboard, and here comes Cooper McMurray, their first baseman, who's their cleanup hitter, does not have a sacrifice all season. And if there were ever a time that you were going to sacrifice bunt, it was right there. They let him swing away. He strikes out. The next batter comes up, lines into a double play. Threat's done. If he gets the sack bunt down there at second and third, you take away that line drive double play. And who knows? Auburn may win Game 1 and they go on to win the series. Yeah. But it's just the little things they didn't do that Coastal did, and that's the reason Coastal's going to Omaha.
Yeah. And that's the breaks of the game. Doing those little things that create runs or take away runs, and that is what Coastal did. So what a year, 53 wins. That's mind-boggling. So let's just say they would have run the table in Omaha, which is entirely possible. They could run the table in Omaha. If they ran the table in Omaha, they're going to end this year. That would be 1, 2.
What's it, 5 wins?
Is it
if you go through the winners bracket?
5 wins, you don't lose a game. That'd be 58 wins. That'd be pushing close to 60 wins.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be what a year. What a year they're having. So we've got Coastal to talk about tonight. Our phone number 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you to reach us here on Sports Talk. And we'll break it all down with Bergie, who was there for the Super Regional. He was there with them, the first-round regional over at Coastal Carolina. And I know their fans are just as excited as they can be about getting this opportunity to go back to Omaha for the second time since 2016. I mean, they got a chance, Bergie, to put another national championship trophy in the trophy case there at Coastal Carolina, evening the two with South Carolina and being 2 up on Clemson. I mean, pretty mind-boggling. And we'll have Coach Stahl with us at 7:05 to help break it all down. 7:35, Chad Holbrook will be back with us tonight, the College of Charleston coach, serving as our analyst for the rest of the college baseball season. He was in Chapel Hill and saw the Tar Heels. Man, it just goes to show you.
That one stunned me.
Well, I mean, you score 18 runs in the opener, you think you're going to waltz through this thing, and then you lose the next 2. So you just never know. So we got that. We got a lot of recruiting. We got a lot in the NIL world to talk about. South Carolina, by the way, got a commitment this morning. KJ Johnson did commit, the cornerback from Birmingham, after they got the Harris twins on Saturday. So the official visits are paying off for South Carolina now as they're starting to pick up some commitments, and the summer camps and the 7-on-7 stuff ongoing as well. So we'll have a complete recruiting report for you coming up tonight. So how was your ride back from Auburn? Did you leave like Saturday evening? When did you come back?
No. I waited and came back yesterday morning. So I left Auburn about, guys, probably 9:30 Central Time. Got back here around 4:30 in the afternoon yesterday. So no rush. Traffic wasn't bad at all. It was kind of nice to cruise through Atlanta on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I know you go over to Atlanta a lot. I would recommend driving through there on a Sunday.
I would recommend driving
much
through
traffic.
there about 4 in the morning. No, that might be a little too late. More like 2 to 3 in the morning. It's about the only time to get through Atlanta without some sort of unless there's a wreck. It's about the only time to get through Atlanta without delay. The crowd, the Coastal crowd, the following they had at Auburn, how would you describe it?
Very good. They probably had close to 1,000 fans. All told, they had about, I think it was one segment of about 600 fans that were up the first base line, which was behind their dugout. And they've got a lower level, and then it comes back to an upper deck level. And then down the left field line, they had additional seating, and I think they may have had 150, 200 people there. So, and they were loud. Especially Game 2 on Saturday, as that game was starting to come to conclusion, and you kind of got the sense Coastal was going to win it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were making a lot of noise, and some of the Auburn fans were heading out the exits before that game was over. But to Auburn's credits, like I said, this is the first time I've been to Plainsman Park. They've done a phenomenal job with that facility, and then adding seating on top of their green monster out there in left field, and then they put in on Thursday evening, as we were out there at practice, I was watching them. They put in an additional set of bleachers on top of their batting cage out beyond right field, and they had basically standing room only up there too. So they packed them in about as well as they could, and they were loud and boisterous. But that's something about this Coastal team. They were asked Thursday, two of the players, so what's it feel like to play an SEC team? And I was thinking, this is going to be an interesting answer. And sure enough, they came. Well, we're just going to come out here and play our brand of baseball. We're ready to play. And sure enough, they went out and did their thing.
And we got one more game.
Being intimidated by an SEC team is not something that happens to Coastal anymore.
No, they shouldn't be. They should. I mean, you should be asking the other teams about playing Coastal, as good as this Coastal team is. One more game to go to settle the last spot in the CWS, scheduled for 7 o'clock tonight in Durham. It's Duke and Murray State, as that series has gone to 3 games. Duke won the opener. Murray State won Game 2, and they'll settle it tonight with Game 3. So you got Louisville from the ACC moving forward. You got Oregon State moving forward. What league are they in? Are they still in the Pac?
They're independent.
No, they're independent. Okay. I thought they still had some sort of affiliation with like the Pac-2 or Pac-4 or something.
Well, yeah, that's what I was wondering about. I remember on Selection Monday, rather, they were talking about them being independent, and they hadn't played in a couple of weeks. And I was kind of surprised they got a number 8 national seed. And I think it goes back to our discussion too with regards to Coastal. I think this has proven they were terribly underseeded, and Auburn had to pay the price that they faced the 13 national seed.
Yeah. So Duke and Murray State will settle up the final spot for the College Baseball World Series. You got UCLA, they swept. You got LSU, swept West Virginia. You got Arkansas, beat Tennessee in 2 games. And you got Coastal Carolina, and you got Arizona, you got Oregon State, and you got Louisville. So how many SEC teams is that out of how many that were in the tournament?
2.
13 were in the tournament originally, right?
Right.
And 2 have made it to the World Series. Well, ordinarily you would say getting 2 teams to the World Series is not a bad deal.
No, you're right.
Ordinarily you'd say, hey, man, this good for that league. They got 2 in the College World Series. Now, if you don't have 6 SEC teams in the final grouping, it's like, what's wrong with the SEC? But I think we did find that maybe some SEC teams were a little bit overrated going into this tournament, and they didn't have sticking power, didn't have staying power. In the ACC, if Duke wins, so the ACC will end up with maybe 2, Louisville and Duke. And who would have thought that going into the ACC tournament?
Those would be the 2 teams you would not have picked.
Yeah.
If I'd given you the entire ACC grouping going into the NCAA tournament, those would have been your last 2 picks of teams going in, because Louisville wasn't supposed to host a super regional, and neither was Duke. They both ended up getting to host.
Yeah. Yep. And Louisville took care of their business, and Duke will try and do the same tonight. We're going to take care of our business, then we'll come back and take your phone calls. And the phone number, 888-898-2525. That is a South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. You can also shoot us a text message. Our text line number is 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Couple lines are open. couple of text lines are available. Recruiting is coming up. Guests are coming up. Your phone calls are coming up. We'll be right back in a moment.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
G3 here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and it's time for a fall preview. That's right, 720 Chris Drive, 378 and I-26, Frontage Road, where you can now preview the best technology for golf known to man. It's the Tsunami Bar. It's live weight. It's the only technology out where you get your tempo and flow going before you play. Now, it also serves as a pattern support tool. 720 Chris Drive, Frontage Road, 378 and I-26. You also can visit the Garage Gym Pro Shop. Pick up your tools, take them home, and while you're here, tour the Scramble Course 6-hole pitch and putt right now.
All right, to your phone calls we go on this Manic Monday night. Kevin Schnall will be with us 7:05. Chad Holbrook 7:35. Recruiting in between. Oh, yeah, we got to check out how the NIL churns tonight because there's been a lot of stuff. Lot of stuff.
How about that for a Friday night news dump?
Oh.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a bigger news dump on a Friday night than the settlement in the House versus whomever case.
I think it was because, against the NCAA. I mean, she's on the West Coast, so she probably signed off at 5 o'clock Pacific Coast time, 8 o'clock our time. Maybe it was a little later after that. But, yeah, that was that's what you do. That way you can avoid talking about it over the weekend because you're gone. Drop the news and hit the door. Let's go to Tony in Columbia with us up first tonight here on Sports Talk. Tony, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good.
How can we help you?
I just started watching college baseball when the playoffs started.
Yes, sir.
What's the deal with the two first base, the one that attach to each other? What's the deal with the green and the white?
Yeah, that was something the SEC actually created 2 or 3 years ago. It's a safety feature. It allows the base runner to swerve to the outside and step on the bag to avoid a collision with the first baseman who can step on the other bag. So they're trying to avoid a collision between the runner coming down the baseline and the first baseman covering the bag.
Okay, so now if the baseball hit the green base, is it fair or foul?
It's fair. It's treated just like
hit the green?
It's treated just like the bag, right, Bergie? It's treated just like the regular first base bag.
No, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I'd have to go back and check. I think the green base, the safety bag, is in foul territory. So it would have to hit the white base, which is the normal base. But that's a really good question, Tony. I've not seen it happen. I'd have to check on that because I'm not sure. But I think that if it hits the green bag, it's a foul ball.
Have to double check that.
Okay, right. So they're just the SEC that's doing that.
Well, no, I think it's spread to other leagues.
It's across the country now.
Yeah, it started with the SEC. Yeah, they broke that out at their tournament like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Because I remember going and saying, "What's that bag?" And had to be explained to everybody. And obviously, I'm not totally clear on the rules because it would make sense to me that, of course, then again, I guess if that green bag is considered to be in foul territory, right?
And that is the case. It is considered foul.
It is considered foul. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's just the tournament time. Is it regular season too? The bag?
Yeah, it's now regular season. Mm-hmm. It's now regular season.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I want to know. All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Good hearing from you. Appreciate the phone call.
Now, what I'm surprised that these schools haven't taken an opportunity to market it better. I think Clemson, if I'm not mistaken, they've got an orange safety bag, don't they?
I don't remember.
Club DKS?
I don't remember.
So I'm really surprised that Carolina hasn't gone with a garnet bag and, that type thing.
Put your logo on there
a bit more.
And try and sell them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'll be next.
Make money off of it.
Exactly.
Contribute to our extra bag. You contribute to our bag, and then we'll carry the bag. We'll give it to somebody carrying the bag, which is what we're doing now. All right, we're going to hit the break, and we'll come back with more of your phone calls. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Recruiting is coming up for you as well. Coach Kevin Schnall and Chad Holbrook at 7:35. Looking forward to talking baseball with those two. Coach Holbrook was, of course, in Chapel Hill, so he'll have some direct thoughts on that. But he can also, of course, break down everything else that's been going on with the regionals, the super regionals, and now headed towards the College World Series. He knows, obviously, a great deal about all these teams. So we got all that coming up your way tonight and more of your phone calls, and we'll get to those after the break. Monday edition of Sports Talk across the state on the Sports Talk Media Network.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Monday evening forecast. Scattered thunderstorms remain possible into the evening and overnight hours. A few storms may be strong with heavy rain, wind, and lightning. Make sure to check the radar if you're heading out. Overnight lows drop to the low 70s. For Tuesday, expect highs in the upper 80s and a 40% chance of afternoon downpours or thunderstorms. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
Member advisor. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Pentagon has formally deployed about 700 Marines to Los Angeles to help National Guard members respond to immigration protests. President Trump on Sunday ordered National Guard troops to the L.A. protests. California Attorney General Rob Bonta has called the move unlawful and announced plans Monday to sue the Trump administration in response. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has removed every member of a scientific committee that advises the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on how to use vaccines. He's pledging to replace them with his own picks. The 17-member advisory committee on immunization practices has been in a state of flux since Kennedy took over. On Wall Street, the Dow down by a point. More details at srnnews.com.
Lots of plumbing companies out there. Few are truly local. Time to discover the difference with Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. See, when I faced plumbing woes at the Cohen home, Josh and his dedicated team, well, they were my go-to solution. They make a commitment to exceptional service. They arrived on time, clearly detailed all the costs and procedures, and efficiently handled all my repairs without any surprises. These days, how often do we complain about a lack of customer service out there? With Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, these folks are professional. They're courteous. They're skilled at what they do, and they've earned my trust, and they've earned my recommendation to you. From urgent repairs to the tankless water heater you've always wanted, they've got you covered. Visit franklinplumbing.sc.com or call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. Hey, you tell them Kev sent you from The Point. I'm pretty sure you'll want to thank me later.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Escape the hustle and bustle of everyday life with Spa MD, your sanctuary of rejuvenation. Feel the tension melt away as our expert team guides you through your customized wellness journey. From soothing massages to revitalizing treatments, we promise a remarkable experience that leaves you feeling renewed and empowered. Discover the calm within every visit. Reach out at 251-9400 or online at visitspamd.com to explore your options. Your oasis of tranquility awaits.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling Grandma for her recipe? No-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m.? Big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas? The ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2025 with select plans. Straight Talk. Real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. Offer valid through 7/20/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation of single line gold unlimited plan or higher. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com/terms. Copyright 2025 Verizon.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Day for me. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances, finessing on them with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan with my accountant lips. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy your Westie world with my base stuff. I know that it's good.
That bumper's not going to get us in any trouble, is it? I mean, I'm trying to listen to the words to make sure that they're all clean. If anybody's going to jail, Plumber, it's you, okay? Just keep that in mind. You're going to jail, not me. It's your bumper.
Yeah,
you're in charge.
I'm rethinking playing that now. But I don't think it'll get us in any trouble. I think it's all right.
I hope it is. I don't want to end up on the pages of the New York Post like Diddy. Is that a Diddy song? That wasn't by Diddy, was it? Do you know who Diddy is?
P. Diddy, yeah. I don't think that was a P. Diddy song. No.
Okay. All right. Very good. Welcome back, everybody. Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. And the plumber, the soon-to-be college boy, the high school graduate, Josh Cohen. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. Back to your phone calls in just a second. Want to remind you that if you haven't booked your plans at the beach for a great getaway for the summer, then you need to do so right away. Call Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate, 843-237-4246. Online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. That's James Smith Real Estate, located right there on the border of Pawleys Island and Litchfield. Okay, great, beautiful building. If you're on Highway 17 and you see it, stop by and say hello to Jimmy and to the staff. They'd love to meet you and help you find what you're looking for. That phone number is 843-237-4246, online at pauliesvacationrentals.com for your perfect beach getaway. Okay, let's get back to the phone calls. 888-898-2525 is the phone number here on Sports Talk, and it's Andy in Columbia up with us next. Hello, Andy. Welcome in. How are you?
Hello, Corn. Hello, Chris. You know what, Corn? You should rent out your place at the beach. It would be kind of like
Couldn't
when you
afford
go
it.
to the White House and you can sleep in the Lincoln bedroom.
You couldn't afford it.
Say you slept in the corn room.
You couldn't afford it. Could
I'll
not
tell you
afford
what,
it.
I had a good time Friday and Saturday morning till 2:30 watching the Coastal Carolina Auburn game.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I stayed up till 2:30, but they had me glued to the TV. And then the next day I was able to watch the whole game and then follow that by watching my Mets take care of business, which they had a very good road trip, by the way. And Chris, I'm assuming you're going to go to Omaha. Is that correct?
That's probably not going to happen. Unfortunately, I don't think I made the travel roster, so I'm going to be cheering from the house.
You're telling me Cheapo's not going to send you to Omaha?
Don't refer to Coastal Carolina's athletic department like that.
I'm not on the travel list.
Don't refer to Coastal Carolina's athletic department in such a manner.
I'm talking about you. You're not going to put the bill for Chris to go to Omaha. When you've taken the bill so many times with the company and gone when
That's
South
back when
Carolina
somebody else was
visit.
paying for it. Okay, it's one thing when somebody else is paying for it. It's another thing when you're paying for it yourself. I'd love to go to have Chris go to Omaha. Would love it. We're just not there yet. We're just not there yet. Hey, you want to write us a check? You want to sponsor it? We'll be happy to. We'll be happy to travel out there.
If Chris follows a few rules, I might.
25. Give me a check for $2,500, and we'll say it's sponsored by you.
The
He needs to bring enough clothes, and if he goes and does laundry, make sure he doesn't walk out of the laundromat and let the door close behind him and lock him out of the laundromat.
In a different
And
state.
also-
It was in a different state. It was in Iowa. That happened in Iowa. The plumber's like,
And
what are you
also,
talking about?
If you get the chance, you can bunk with the Pastor Payne as being your roommate.
That was a hoot. No, what happened? The plumber wants to know what we're talking about. Long story short, I was out in Omaha one of the years, and it was a long stay because sometimes, if your team wins that you're covering, you're going to be out there. So I had to go wash clothes, and I went to a laundromat over in Iowa. For those who don't know, Omaha is right on the Iowa border, Iowa and Nebraska. And this is near the airport, which is actually in Iowa. But you go back across the border from Omaha into Iowa, and there was a laundromat in this little town. And I'm doing my clothes, and I got my keys. Everything's in there, and I walk out to my car to get something. And lo and behold, there's a sign on the door that says door locks behind you after a certain time. And I was after that. It was nighttime, of course. So it was after that time. And long story short, I was locked out of the laundromat, had no keys, had no laptop, had no phone. And
he was only wearing his tidy whities because he had everything else in the laundry.
Fortunately, a cop came driving by, and I was able to flag him down. He was able to hunt down the owner of the laundromat, who came and opened the door. So, but that cost me about a good 2 extra hours at that laundromat. I could have been at the casinos making a killing. Instead, I'm stuck in the laundromat.
Well, I can't see why, big fat cat Jimmy Smith and,
Boy, it's easy.
The lawyer.
It's easy for you to spend somebody else's money, ain't it?
I would think that, if South Carolina was up there or Clemson, Phil Kornbluth's butt would be in Omaha. And I just think that, Chris, the job he's been doing and what he's been doing deserves to go to Omaha. Is my feeling.
I do not disagree.
But that's just my feeling. But maybe this will
great job, and he needs to be there. He deserves to be there. That's for sure.
So send them there, Cheapo. So, but maybe this will bring us up to a quicker KFW, a corn-free week. When are you going to go on vacation finally?
You keep guessing. You keep guessing. You keep hoping. And we got to go. Thank you so much for the phone call.
Appreciate
Put
it,
your
Andy.
money where your mouth is, and, we can make something happen. Let's don't give up the fight, though, Bergie. We go to we're going to Brent in Mount Pleasant. Next up with us on Sports Talk, Brent, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate the boys. Hey, my short commentary. I'm a Gamecock fan, and I know Coastal's coach is coming on, and looking forward to that interview. But I wanted to point it toward Berge. With the Gamecocks coach and the Coastal coach, it's kind of like night and day with the personalities. One you want to run through a brick wall, and the other makes you want to go to a yoga class, maybe. So I wanted to get some of Berge's insight and kind of find out, it's got to be easy for him to rally his guys, especially around the Florida coach debacle. I just want to get some quick feedback, and also I wanted to find out how did the Gamecocks, or Clemson for that matter, overlook the pitcher from I think he was from Columbia, who's pitching for Coastal.
All right, Berge, fire away.
Well, first off, on the Kevin Snall situation, that's who he is. I mean, he was like that, I believe, as a player. He certainly was a detail-oriented. He's about as detail-oriented a person as I think I've ever met. And that was how he was raised as an assistant coach. And I think it goes back, if I'm not mistaken, his father was a coach as well and worked with guys like Bill Parcells. So he kind of got that naturally from his dad, passed it down to him. And yeah, there is not one detail. And I'll give you a perfect example. When Coastal went to the College World Series back in 2016, the uniform that they wore in Game 2 against LSU were teal tops and white pants. Guess what they wore on Saturday in Game 2 against Auburn with a chance to go to the College World Series?
Mm-hmm.
Teal tops, white pants. These little things aren't missed by him at all. And he is such a detail-oriented person. That's why they play the way they do. They scout teams extremely well. Not that Paul Maneri and Eric Backage don't, but I'm not sure there's anybody that's as detail-oriented as Kevin Snall. Plus, he's got a staff around him. He talks a lot about it. As a matter of fact, his opening comments on Saturday after they won the Super Regional, not about him. He always deflects the attention to somebody else. He talked about his staff. And you want to mention the pitching staff. How about the job Matt Williams has done with that pitching staff this season? And look at the difference between Carolina's pitching staff, where Matt Williams was the pitching coach up until this past season, and the Coastal pitching staff, which is one of the top 2 or 3 in the country in terms of ERA. So, I mean, the staff that they have, and they're, for the most part, they're all Coastal guys with the exception of Matt Williams, and they just love that school. And they all read from the same book, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a remarkable thing to watch, and it's something that I think Gary Gilmore instilled in him. And Kevin Snall talked a lot when he took the job that Coach Gilmore would always allow his assistants to sort of branch out and do a lot of things. Do the scouting, do the recruiting, do everything you need to do to be a head coach. And so when he stepped into that role this year, and he's joked about, no, I didn't see 52, 53, and 11 coming and 23 straight wins. But I think he was certainly prepared to take over, and you could see the fruits of his labors.
They haven't missed a beat.
Mm-mm.
I mean, they haven't missed a beat. Gary who? No, I'm kidding. But they haven't missed a beat. The pitcher he was referring to from
I'm trying to
Columbia?
figure out which one he's talking about from Columbia.
Yeah. I have to look up the roster.
Sorry, he played with the Gamecocks first baseman. Is it Rollins? The freshman first baseman at Carolina. I think he said they went to high school together.
Bo Hollins is the Carolina first baseman. So this would have been somebody where'd Bo play high school ball? Lexington, I think, maybe. You'd have to look it up on the roster, Berge, if you get a chance. Off the top of my head, I don't know which one you're talking about. But I'll say this. They that pitching, and they won with their ace going in the second game. But, I mean, I think he will tell us, and we'll probably talk about this, he probably considers Fluky, if not 1A, 1B, and Morrison 1A, 1B. I mean, I guess he feels like they're basically interchangeable. And then they got a great outing on
Riley Eichhoff.
Yeah.
Who would be 1C, if you will.
Yeah.
And Eichhoff's the one who led them to a shutout of East Carolina in the regional championship game. They
Yeah.
never even got to him. That's who they had waiting on Sunday if they had gotten there.
That kind of pitching is a blessing. Well, it's like LSU. Did you watch the end of the LSU game?
I did not.
They brought out, I don't know if he's their closer. They had a pretty big lead, but they brought a guy in of the bullpen who had been a starter. Now he's in the bullpen. He touched 101.3. I'm not talking about an FM radio signal. I'm talking about his fastball. He was 100, 101, 98. He's like 6'7", 6'8". And this is, I don't know where he fits in their bullpen, but I mean, God, to have that kind of weapon to be able to go to at a time of need is, and to have that kind of luxury that Coastal has with the coaching staff is pretty special.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the phone call. Really appreciate it. We'll see if we can find the name of that.
Brent may have been talking about Walker Mitchell, their third baseman. Walker was from River Bluff High School in Lexington. That's where Bo Hollins played.
There you go.
That may have been the connection. And Walker's their third baseman. And we've talked about him before. His father was Alan Mitchell, former Gamecock quarterback.
Oh, okay. Okay. Our poll question of the week, by the way, which is presented by Larry Lucas Insurance. Call Larry at 803-799-1998 for all your insurance needs. Who is the South Carolina College Baseball Player of the Year non-pitchers? The South Carolina College Baseball Player of the Year non-pitchers. We have 4 nominations, Bergie. 4 nominations. Who nominated them?
This is hard.
Who nominated them? Me. I nominated them. And by the way, if you click on the question, it's got some stats. It's got a slash line underneath for batting average, home runs, and RBIs, just to give you something to compare and contrast. So you got Brett Bloomquist of North Greenville. All he did was hit .403 with 7 homers and 36 RBIs. Caden Bodine of Coastal, .332, 5 homers, 41 RBIs. Cam Canarella of Clemson, .353 batting average, 5 home runs, 52 RBIs. And, of course, his defensive plays are things of legend. And Johnny Sweeney from Upstate, he batted .345, 18 homers, and 82 RBIs. So far, in early balloting, Bodine's got 62.5%, Canarella's got 25%, Sweeney's got 12.5%. So you can find it on our X page, which is SC Sports Now, or on our website, sportstalksc.com. Click on it there and vote there as well.
Sheer numbers, hard to overlook what Brett Bloomquist did. Batting .403. I don't care what level you're hitting in college baseball. That's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to peel the onion back between the 2 front runners, who are probably going to be the winner, between Caden Bodine and Cam Canarella, you can almost, I mean, their statistics outside of the average are almost identical.
Mm-hmm.
The difference that Bodine has, and this is insane, Phil, he's got 44 assists this season as a catcher.
That's amazing. That's absolutely
and
amazing.
One error.
Yeah.
And 1 error. Cam Canarella has 3 assists, 3 errors, and then some amazing, leap into the seats and pull the ball back catches throughout the season. You can really split hairs. I'm guessing that Eric Package would never trade Cam Canarella for anybody, and you can say the same thing with regards to Kevin Snall and Caden Bodine.
Yeah.
He's not trading Bodine for anybody. I mean, those two are terrific players.
2 future pros, no question about it. All right, we'll run to the break, and we'll be back. We appreciate the phone call. And our phone number is 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. To reach us here on Sports Talk, we got some notes coming up. We got a little bit of as the NIL churns. In fact, we might hit that coming up next as the NIL churns. It's one of my favorite moments of any show on a given Sports Talk night. And we'll be back with that and more. Monday edition, Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Whether it's becoming a teacher, dentist, or engineer, every child deserves the chance to chase their dreams. Investing in a child's education with Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan, can help turn those big dreams into next steps. So don't wait. You can start with any amount. Contributions are tax deductible and earnings grow tax-free. Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners. So the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
As the NIL churns.
Well, as you're well aware, the judge, Ms. Watkins, signed off on the House settlement against the NCAA Friday night. So it's here. It's now the law of the collegiate land. And like it or not, you're going to have to learn to either deal with it, which means it's something that you don't really like, but you learn to live with it, or you embrace it. Maybe you like it. Maybe there's people out there, I'm sure there are. I've seen no drop-off in enthusiasm, interest, spending when it comes to college athletics. Season ticket sales are flying out. They keep going up. Everything keeps going up around it. People are still spending. These regionals are all sold out. Strong, passionate fans. Players here today. He's gone tomorrow. Get another guy. It seems like this generation of sports fans, it's fine with them. They're good with it. We'll see how it works. I hope it works. I hope the college sports fan can enjoy it, and it will make it easier for teams to improve themselves quicker. You don't have to go through the recruiting maturation process. You can flat go out and sign yourself a guy with a beard and a family, and he's 23, 24 years old. Yeah, you'll find some who are that old still if they have the extra years left of eligibility. Until they resolve the eligibility situation, you're going to have guys 23, 24 years old. But you can sign those kind of guys and turn yourself around in a hurry. So here are some notes for you today in this edition of As the NIL Churns. And already a dispute in reporting. On3 reported, Pete Nakos reported that Penn State and UCLA have signed 8-figure private capital deals with Elevate. The Nittany Lions and Bruins make college sports history by being the first two athletic departments to take on private capital. There's only one problem. According to a report by CBS Sports, the ADs at Penn State and UCLA said they haven't done anything like that. They have denied their schools are involved in private equity funding. Pat Kraft at Penn State, Martin Jarmond at UCLA, told Ross Dellinger, Yahoo Sports, that partnerships with sports consulting firm Elevate do not include private capital. This in response to a report from Sportico that the Big Ten members became debut partners in Elevate's new $500 million program to fund college athletic departments. Okay, little snafu. You know it's going to happen. The money coaches said it's going to happen. And when that happens, you're going to give up control of your athletic department somewhere down the road.
Well, and Phil, here's the bigger concern I have with regards to this. Now that this is law of the land, How many athletes, and I saw a tweet about this earlier from a guy who claims to be a sports attorney, how many more athletes are going to pull a Diego Pavia type situation and sue to stay in school longer because they'll now bring to the courts, you know what, I'm going out into the regular world and I'm going to make $40,000 right out of college, or I can stay in college and make $2 million playing my sports. You're depriving me of a living. How many of these lawsuits are going to come before the courts?
Absolutely. Here's more. This is from Philip Shing, who is a partner at a law firm. He says the forthcoming Title IX lawsuits that will hit on July 1, when schools can begin revenue sharing, and these suits will name individual schools as defendants, and schools are already funding their litigation war chests. Schools will defend the disproportionate payout in revenue sharing to male athletes on the grounds that football and men's basketball generate the most revenue. One of the main counters to this is that schools do not promote women's sports on the same level as the men's sports. As Women's March Madness and College World Series has shown, the product on the floor field, he writes, can be just as amazing. Okay, that's all in the eyes of the beholder, but he is right. The promotion side of it is one-sided, and how much are the supporters of women's sports going to squawk about this? Apparently they're going to squawk a lot, and you're probably going to hear a great deal of squawking here in Columbia, unless, of course, Dawn Staley is given what she believes is a fair share of the $20.5 million that South Carolina will have to play with.
And that brings up a really interesting question, Phil. How many of the universities across the country will say, you know what, it's not worth it to us from a financial standpoint to sponsor women's indoor volleyball, beach volleyball, softball, whatever the case may be, and just drop those sports?
Oh, yeah.
And also cut out, men's track and field, golf, tennis. I mean, how many of these sports are just going to go away because of this?
I think you're going to see a purge when it comes right down
sad.
to that. All right, more coming up. Be right back.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. California is suing the Trump administration for federalizing the state's National Guard in Los Angeles, where protesters clashed with law enforcement during a series of protests concerning federal immigration raids. California Attorney General Rob Bonta says the situation was under control until the Trump administration called up the National Guard.
Since Trump announced his plan to deploy troops, the situation on the ground has escalated quickly, with unrest growing overnight, causing highways to close and putting people in danger.
While President Trump says his deployment of National Guard troops to Los Angeles was a great decision.
Thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped in a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do anything, and we sent out the troops, and they've done a fantastic job.
About 700 Marines will formally deploy to L.A. in the coming hours to respond to immigration protests. ABC News has suspended senior national correspondent Terry Moran after he sharply criticized President Trump and his top aide Stephen Miller in a social media post.
In the since-deleted post on X, screenshots of which were shared on social media, Moran called Trump and Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor, world-class haters. The critical post caught the attention of conservative X users, including White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, who screenshotted the post, calling it unhinged and unacceptable. An ABC News spokesperson said in a statement shortly thereafter, quote, "The post does not reflect the views of ABC News and violated our standards. As a result, Terry Moran has been suspended pending further evaluation." Bernie Bennett reporting.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by a point, the NASDAQ up 61. More at townhall.com.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it,
That sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Israel confirms the death of a Hamas leader during a strike last month. He was the head of Hamas's armed wing. BBC correspondent David Bamford has more.
An Israeli army statement said DNA checks confirmed a body retrieved from a tunnel underneath the European hospital in Khan Yunis was that of Mohammed Sinwar. The Israelis say the body of Mohammed Shabana, the commander of the Hamas Rafah brigade, was also found at the scene. They died, Israel says, in a military operation on May the 13th. Mohammed Sinwar was the younger brother of Yahya Sinwar, killed by Israel last year. He'd been accused by Israel of masterminding the October 2023 attack on Israel that triggered the war in Gaza.
Meanwhile, Israel seized a boat carrying supplies to Gaza that included onboard activist Greta Thunberg. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Monday evening forecast. Scattered thunderstorms remain possible into the evening and overnight hours. A few storms may be strong with heavy rain, wind, and lightning. Make sure to check the radar if you're heading out. Overnight lows drop to the low 70s. For Tuesday, expect highs in the upper 80s and a 40% chance of afternoon downpours or thunderstorms. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
This is The Point.
Make the point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back with you with Sports Talk Media Network on this manic Monday night after a weekend in which the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers went down to Auburn and spanked the Auburn Tigers. Two good games, 7-6 and 4-1, but they go in and win those two games over Auburn, and the Chanticleers now on their way to Omaha later this week for the College World Series on Friday. They'll be playing Arizona on the first day of the College World Series, going for that second national championship. Let's welcome in the head coach of the Chanticleers to Sports Talk once again, Coach Kevin Schnall. And first of all, congratulations to you, sir. What a job, what a run you guys have been on. Just how are you feeling here a couple of days after accomplishing what you accomplished on the plains there at Auburn?
Couldn't feel better. I appreciate you guys having me on.
You got any voice left?
A little bit. We're running around here the last couple of days, but excited about what's ahead. We got a chance to take a day off today, and we'll get back after it tomorrow. But again, thanks for having me on, and we're really excited about making the trip back out to Omaha.
Well, it's a pleasure having you. And I tell you, we said this earlier in the show. Bergie and I were talking. It's like your comments after your win on Saturday, and you really, around here, you don't have to convince anybody, but maybe nationally some people are like, wink, wink. But, I mean, we're not a Cinderella. Don't treat us like a Cinderella. This was no accident. We're as good as anybody in the country. I just love that approach.
Well, listen, it's been an incredible year. We're 53-11. We've won 23 straight games, but it's not unbelievable, and that's the message that we want to get out. I mean, we've got a very good program. It's something that we're very proud of. This century, there's only 8 other teams that have been to more regionals than us. We've got the 6th best winning percentage, the 9th most wins through that time period. So we're trying to just express the fact that, yeah, we won a national championship, but we're also equally as proud of the relentless consistency we've had the last 25 years.
Yeah. The Friday night game, I mean, you go back to 2016, and you guys had some nerve-wracking moments during that postseason with the rain delay, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, you had to sleep overnight on a 2-out situation and come back. I just remember a lot of pressure on you guys, and you pulled it off time and again. But the Friday night game, how would you rate that one in terms of the stomach twisters that you've been involved with in your time at Coastal Carolina?
Well, I guess what was it, an hour and a half rain delay, and we're hanging out in the batting cages, and we're in a good spot because we're up 6-3 at that time, and we feel pretty good. We're in the bottom of the 6th, and ultimately we came out of the rain delay, and we spoon-fed them a run right off the gate, right out of the gate there with an error off the mound. It was a wild pitch, and then it was a comebacker to the pitcher. He throws it errantly to the first baseman. They score all the way from second. So now they make it 6-4. Then in the bottom of the 7th, we do another wild pitch, and they score another run on that, on a wild pitch, and then a 5-3. They score a run there. Then they hit a home run to tie it up. So they scored 2 runs in the 7th. And we were just fortunate. I mean, they brought a lefty in that was really good for 3 innings, and we got nothing off them. They went to their bullpen, and Caden Bodine takes a great swing in the 10th, hits a home run in the 10th, and you don't draw it up this way, but 2 innings in a row. In the bottom of the 9th, we go walk. They got first and second, no outs, and we get a big strikeout and then a line drive to our second baseman. We double the base runner up at second, and then in the bottom of the 10th, they've got the tying run on second with 1 out, and very similar play, a line drive to our second baseman's backhand. Blake Barthel makes a great play, and we turn a double play to end the game, and we beat them 7-6. So it was really special.
Some people might say that's just luck. I say it's execution. I say it's preparation. You had your guys in the right spot. I mean, and atom balls happen in baseball, but you got to be prepared. You got to be in the right position. How did you feel? You won that one. You had somewhat of a relatively early turnaround for the Saturday game after a late night. But how did you feel going into Saturday, confidence-wise, off of that first win? Did you feel like, and you had your best guy, I guess maybe they're all your best guys, but this was your other best guy going on the mound. Did you feel really confident on Saturday you were going to wrap this thing up in 2 games?
Well, when you pencil Jacob Morrison in as your starting pitcher, and he's your Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year, he's 11-0. Confidence. I mean, we were oozing with confidence that we were going to win the game on Saturday, and we were excited to fly back on Sunday. And fortunately, it worked out that way. And they got a run early on us. It's just a ball that found the exact right spot on the field with 2 outs, and they had a guy that could run a little bit at first, and he was able to score on essentially what you would call a long single. But we had people on base every inning. We were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position the first 6 innings. We just couldn't get that big hit with runners in scoring position. I think we had the leadoff guy on base 6 of 9 innings, and then we finally broke through. Walker Mitchell gets a big hit in the 7th to tie the game, and then he got another big hit in the 8th. And then we were able to break it open there in the 8th, or in the 7th. We were able to break it with the big inning. When we got 3 runs and we get the big inning, we're in good shape. And this year it's something that we've really done a great job. We're 40-1 when we win the big inning war, and reason behind that is our pitching. Our pitching just not giving up the big innings. We're playing high level defense too. What a big inning is, it's 3 or more runs, and ultimately, if you score 3 or more runs than your opponent, that's when you win the big inning war. And like I said, we're 40-1 when we do that. And in the 7th inning, when we got that 3rd run, we're up 1-0 in the big inning war, and that was the goal. Moving forward is just not giving up a big inning, and we're lucky we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Coastal Carolina head baseball coach Kevin Snall with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Chanticleer is getting ready to go back out to Omaha for the College World Series. They'll play on Friday against Arizona. And, Coach, sort of big picture, we had a caller earlier in the program asking about you as a coach and your personality and the like. You told a story after the game Saturday, and if you don't mind relaying it again, I think it's a really heartwarming story. I didn't even know this about you and your family, about your son who had several strokes during the 2016 season and was unable to attend the College World Series, but you said he's doing better and he's going to be able to go out with you this year to watch your team perform and cheer on the Chanticleers. If you don't mind sort of relaying that story and how important that is to you that you're going to be able to take your family this time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough year. It was actually a mechanical thing, but he was having a stroke, and his basilar artery was clotting, and he had multiple strokes. And we were fortunate that in the spring of 2016, the doctor was able to finally figure out what was creating the stroke, and it was mechanical. They were able to insert a stent in that artery to eliminate it from, basically it was like a hose, and when he turned his head a certain direction, it was cutting that artery off. But he's, like I said, he's flourishing now. He's doing great things, and it is awesome that he's going to get an opportunity to get out there and see what Omaha's all about.
Now, big picture, let's talk about this weekend and compare it to 2016. I guess it's a scenario you don't know what you don't know until you get there. So take us back to preparation back in 2016 to get ready to go to the College World Series for the first time. How much do you think it's similar getting ready to go back out there, and how much has changed, do you believe, getting your team prepared now that you and the coaching staff at least know what to expect when you get out to Omaha?
Well, a lot's changed with overall resources. Your scouting reports are much more thorough. There's much more information on your opponents. It's easier to find information. It's easier to review your opponents, to have a much more thorough idea of who you're playing and what they do, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, and that's our goal right now, is just to collect and start really diving into the 3 teams that are on our side, but specifically Arizona. So that does play a little bit different role. Whereas when we went out there in 2016, there wasn't as much video as there is now. There isn't as much of the analytics and the numbers that you can get today. So that's what we're working on right now, and a lot of our focus is just our team and making sure our team is in a good spot, making sure that they're well rested, but yet we're going to get back after it tomorrow on the field and get ourselves prepared so we can play at a high level on Friday.
Do you go back to your normal rotation, or is that still to be determined?
Still to be determined. We've been discussing it the last 2 days. Our guys are on the proper rest. So at this point, Jacob Morrison will not pitch. He's going to go game 2. That's the plan at this point. It's just a decision we need to make if we're going to go with Flukie or Eichhoff in game 1.
Gotcha. And, of course, you guys went out there in 2016, and you were a Cinderella in 2016, right? I think you would agree you were Cinderella in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, they like to use that word. Again, yeah. I don't like to use that because, in 2016 at that point, 16 years, we were playing very high-level baseball. We've hosted regionals. We've won regionals. And again, at that point, we were top 10 in the country in wins and winning percentage, and we've continued to win at a high level. I mean, yes, was it our first time in Omaha? It was, but it wasn't our first time winning at a high level.
And so do not no one should dare look at Coastal Carolina as the little one in this eight team field. I mean, you're flexing muscles right next to everybody else.
Well, we're 53-11. We've won 23 straight. Again, it's an incredible run we're on, but it's not unbelievable. We got really good players. We've got an unbelievable staff. We've got an athletic department that backs us up at a very high level. So we're in a really good spot. But at the end of the day, winning is not easy. And what we're doing is we're making it look easy, but it's not easy. But the truth is winning doesn't care about what you did yesterday. It's all about, are you preparing yourself at the highest level? And it comes down to being able to execute on Friday. And we've got to execute like we have in the last 23 games, but we're going to have to execute on a really high level on a very unique stage.
Your most difficult question here is your favorite steakhouse in Omaha. Where are you hitting it up on whenever you get there? Where do you make a beeline to?
Well, I guess everybody always talks about what the Drover. I mean, I like Omaha Prime too. So it doesn't matter. I'm not that picky, but I'm not going out there to eat. I'm going out there to win some baseball games.
Have you got your? Do you know what your travel schedule is? Will you be practicing at Creighton or over at Bellevue, or do you know where you'll be practicing?
Our plan right now is we'll be here tomorrow, and we'll practice here Wednesday. Then we'll take off. We'll fly out early Wednesday afternoon, and then we practice. We haven't got the exacts yet, but I believe that all signs point that we'll practice in the stadium on Thursday at 11:10. Basically, you get 50 minutes on Thursday to practice there, and then the alternate sites, I'm not even sure where they are at this point. I haven't heard that, but I know you can definitely use Creighton, and there's some other fields that you can use, but we haven't even got down that road yet.
All right, sir. Hey, congratulations once again. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a wonderful run for you guys, and I know you're hoping and maybe even expecting this thing to continue deep into next week and the week after. Who knows? You might be raising that trophy again.
We hope so. We just got to play, one pitch at a time and continue to play good baseball. If we do that, the rest will take care of itself.
Well, we appreciate you. Thanks for joining us tonight, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, Coach Kevin Schnall from Coastal Carolina. And you really can't pick apart what he has to say. I mean, don't call it an accident. Winning 53 games indicates they're a darn good team with a lot of strengths up and down the lineup.
They're very talented, and that pitching staff is unbelievably good. Again, as I pointed out before, that ERA on this year's pitching staff lower than the one they used to win the national championship in 2016.
All right, we'll be right back.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, let's give you the recruiting report tonight. Coming off a very busy weekend, our recruiting report is brought to you by Seawell's. No menu yet for this week's delicious daily luncheon buffet at Seawell's, which will crank back up tomorrow. You know it will be, well, Plummer, you know the menus by heart. Give us a typical Tuesday Seawell's menu, just off the top of your head.
Usually it's cornbread and Thanksgiving. It's turkey with cornbread dressing, or I don't even know if that's a thing. Is cornbread dressing a thing?
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's usually like Thanksgiving, and then they got wings or something, meatloaf, something.
Meatloaf,
yeah.
That's it, huh? That's all you can remember.
That's not it. I mean, they have tea. They got everything, dessert,
fish nuggets.
Wow,
all kind of
yeah. They
things.
got everything.
Okay.
That's not usually. The fish nuggets are usually on like a Thursday.
We'll get the official menus tomorrow, but make plans to be there tomorrow for the buffet, 11 till 2. And if you have a very special event coming up that requires the best in the catering business, then all you got to do is notify Seawell's and say, help me, help me, help me. 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. All right, little recruiting run for South Carolina. They get cornerback K.J. Johnson, 6'2", 175, out of Birmingham. He committed this morning. He visited West Virginia over the weekend. He was at USC the previous weekend. Other offers were Texas Tech, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Memphis, Southern Miss, and others. He was really impressed by secondary coach Torian Gray and his history of developing defensive backs and getting them into the NFL. That was important to him. First cornerback commitment for the Gamecocks, their 8th commitment overall in the 26 class. Last season, 76 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions. And he could end up playing corner. He could end up playing nickel. And the Gamecocks on Saturday, the twin brothers, defensive tackle Aiden and defensive end Andrew Harris, committed to South Carolina. Andrew Harris, 6'2", 225. Aiden Harris, 6'3", 250. Andrew could end up playing some linebacker as well at that size, 6'2", 225. But they're two of the top players in North Carolina. They've had a long relationship with the Gamecocks going back to attending camps in 2022. Travian Robertson and Sterling Lucas developed their relationships with the pair. South Carolina was pretty much the front runner here for an extended time. They made their official visits to USC over the weekend. They were also scheduled to visit Auburn and NC State. As a sophomore, last stats we had on Andrew Harris, 104 tackles, 25 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks. Last season, Aiden Harris, 82 tackles, including 31 tackles for loss as a defensive lineman. He also had 13.5 sacks, and he deflected 8 passes. For his career, he has 229 total tackles, including 62 tackles for loss and 23.5 sacks. South Carolina remains very much in play with defensive tackle Noah Clark, 6'3", 290, out of Durham. He was in for his official visit over the weekend, and he has South Carolina among his top group. He's not ready to name a top 5 just yet, but South Carolina, he said, is definitely among his favorites, his top 5 when he names them. South Carolina will be in that group. He has also taken officials to Virginia and Duke. He's going to take a midweek official this week to Florida. He'll visit Virginia Tech this coming weekend, and then he'll take his final official visit to NC State on June 20th. Last season, Clark had 78 tackles, 18.5 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. He is planning to announce his commitment on his birthday, which is July 2nd. So that's when he's going to do his thing, Noah Clark. Also, Joel Combe, 6'2", 190 of Marietta, Georgia, a safety. He was in for his official visit at South Carolina over the weekend. And he, too, impressed with Torian Gray. And the way Torian Gray has developed players over the years. And they have been recruiting him. He says Gray's been recruiting him for a long time and has been on him pretty strongly. And he said after the visit, South Carolina's top 5 for sure with him. He said they've moved up. He'll be dropping a top 5 on Tuesday. And he said South Carolina just makes him feel like he's at home. And that's very important to him, to be at a place where he feels very comfortable. He has also taken official visits to Oklahoma State and Missouri. He's going to go to Wisconsin this weekend and then Tennessee the following weekend. He plans to announce on July 9th. Last season, Cumbay had 66 tackles with 3 interceptions. Clemson offered 2027 quarterback Peyton Houston, 6 feet 200, of Shreveport, Louisiana. He was in camp on Sunday. He set a Louisiana 5A state record last season with 4,480 passing yards with 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. This included a state record 817 yards in a single game.
Good grief.
He's also rushed for 690 yards and 7 touchdowns. He completed 70% of his passes, and he's got a bunch of offers.
I would hope so.
2027 offensive tackle Maxwell Hiller, 6'6", 295 of Coatesville, PA, was offered by Clemson on Sunday after a camp outing. He camped at USC today. He called the Clemson offer his dream offer. He also has a bunch of other offers from across the country. 2028 defensive end Asher Guido, 6'5", 240 of Jacksonville, camped at Clemson over the weekend. 2028 quarterback Grayson Clary, formerly of Daniel and now in Rabun Gap, Georgia, was at South Carolina camping today. I think they had a 7-on-7. 2027 offensive lineman Brady Hall of Pulaski, Kentucky, camped at USC today. North Augusta offensive tackle Malcolm Gaston took an official Virginia Tech over the weekend. 27 receiver Darius Carter, formerly of Ridgeview, camped at Florida State Sunday and Florida today. 27 running back David Segura of Burns was at Florida State over the weekend. 27 Catawba Ridge corner Joshua Dobson will visit Texas A&M this week. Former USC commitment cornerback Peyton Dyer committed to Southern Cal. Basketball, USC offered 2027 6'5" for Shad Tisby of Augusta. In baseball, Clemson got a commitment from Tyler Lichtenberger, a shortstop, the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year from Appalachian State. He batted .341. And South Carolina got a commitment from transfer reliever right-hander Josh Gunther of Wake Forest. And we'll be back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's your Monday evening forecast. Scattered thunderstorms remain possible into the evening and overnight hours. A few storms may be strong with heavy rain, wind, and lightning. Make sure to check the radar if you're heading out. Overnight lows drop to the low 70s. For Tuesday, expect highs in the upper 80s and a 40% chance of afternoon downpours or thunderstorms. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, it's Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We're introducing our new healthy gluten-free menu. For your choices, we offer charbroiled certified Angus ribeye steak, juicy marinated grilled chicken dinner, fresh grilled salmon, authentic Greek salad, hamburger steak with grilled onions and melted cheese, shish kebab with grilled chicken, veggie blue plate with a choice of 4 vegetable selections, spring chicken salad, and of course, our famous slow roasted pot roast. Come and enjoy a healthy gluten-free menu at Flight Deck Restaurant. We at Flight Deck Restaurant thank you and God bless.
Parade. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A House Republican proposal backed by President Trump would set up tax-deferred investment accounts with $1,000 for infants born across the U.S. It builds on the concept of baby bonds, which some cities have begun introducing as a way to reduce gaps between wealthy people and poor people. In other news, Washington, D.C. is preparing for the June 14th military parade to honor the 250th birthday of the Army and the 79th birthday of President Trump. Army officials have estimated about 200,000 attendees for the evening military parade. More than 18 miles of security fencing will be erected and 175 magnetometers will be deployed. On Wall Street, the Dow down by a point. This is SRN News.
Hey, this is Kev with my good friend Ken from over at Broker Solar, and he really is a good friend. I've known Ken's family for more than 20 years. All right, so how many people lost power for an extended time back when we had that hurricane come through here, right? You got the solution, though, Ken, the solar-powered batteries.
The battery with solar system is essential. Not only can you back up your loads in an emergency event like a power outage, but you can also control the peak times that you use power, and the batteries can kick in to supplement your power usage. With our solar batteries, you can back up the home just like a generator would, but run it off the clean energy from the sun, which we get every single day. So no need to refill the gas, propane tanks, all powered by the sun.
Remember, Broker Solar is local. You make the call, the investment is worth it. How do the Point listeners find you over at Broker Solar, Ken?
The best way is going to be through brokersolar.com. Plenty of contact us buttons, but the phone number to reach us at would be 803-807-7417.
It's painting season in the Midlands, and Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovation sets the tone for inspired living. Watch your home change from ordinary to outstanding with colors that liven every wall and craftsmanship you can trust. Michael and his team are fully licensed, bonded, and insured. They care for every detail inside and out of your home. Let's give your home the style and care it deserves. Call 922-5615. Southern Palmetto Painting and Renovations, where every project reflects pride.
You've been talking about it for years. This year, do it. I'm Eddie Springer of Treycal Builders, talking about remodeling your kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, or whole house. At Treycal, we know the hardest part of remodeling is just getting started. But with us, it's easy. We'll guide you through the process, then deliver first-class work quickly, cleanly, and affordably. Call 360-8211, 360-8211, or visit TRECALbuilders.com. Treycal Builders, quality from start to finish.
Are you Dad's favorite? Do you want to be? Then get him the gift that he actually wants for Father's Day at Palmetto State Armory. Upgrade his old dull knife with a new one from brands like Bubba Blade, Kronos, and Leatherman. Give him some much-needed peace and quiet with electronic hearing protection from Walker and Axel. And if the only thing that's worse than his lame jokes is his tackle box, make his day with new fishing gear from Rapala, Berkeley, and Strike King. Palmetto State Armory has the perfect gift for the dad that has everything. And if you still can't decide on what he wants, take the easy way out and get him a gift card. Visit us at one of our 9 retail locations or shop online at palmettostatearmory.com.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
All right, welcome back to Sports Talk Media Network. It's been a busy show. Still lots to do. We got one more spot to fill for the College World Series, and they're playing in Durham, Murray State and Duke. They're in the top of the second. Murray State, I think, hit a couple of home runs, has a 2-1 lead on Duke. And the winner –
I got a stat for you, Phil.
All right.
Jonathan Hogarth of Murray State led off the ballgame with a home run. It's his 8th leadoff home run this season, which leads Division I.
Wow.
Now, my question to you, not only is that a remarkable stat, but who keeps that stat? You have to go through every team to find out every game how many leadoff home runs they've hit.
Some stat geek is doing it. All right, so right now, with this game pending, the College World Series bracket lines up like this. You got Louisville against Oregon State. You got Arizona against Coastal Carolina. You got LSU against Arkansas. And then you'll have UCLA against the winner of Duke and Murray State. Let's welcome in College of Charleston head coach Chad Holbrook. Once again, the Sports Talk, taking a major pay cut by serving as our analyst here through the through the end of the College World Series. Welcome. I know you were in Chapel Hill. What happened? It just shows you can't. You score 18 runs on a Friday, you can't be counting your tickets to Omaha that quickly.
Yeah, it's never
it's never over. And I had a bad feeling, honestly, for my alma mater after that first game. You remember a couple years ago when Arkansas beat NC State like 25-2 in game one? It was in a super regional game in Arkansas, in Fayetteville, and then NC State came back and won the next two. It's almost like a fool's gold. I watched that game and it's like 18-2, but it wasn't like. It was a lot. I know it's coaches. It was closer than that. I mean, Arizona hit into a number of double plays. They had a fair number of hits. North Carolina had a number of two out hits fall into play for them. Some couple not so hard hit balls. It just snowballed on Arizona, but it wasn't that type of game in my mind, in the coach's mind. As I watched the game, I knew Arizona was good. I knew they could hit. In the last 3 or 4 weeks of the year, they've been pitching it very well. They didn't pitch it very well early in the year. They did late. I didn't think they would lose, but I knew it was going to be a tussle even after game one. And you got to give credit to credit, where credit's due. They played well and made the big plays and the big pitches when they had to. And then, as often is the case in those elimination games, it comes down to an error or a defensive miscue. The pressure is so tight and high on those kids, and so often is the case. Late in the game, somebody will make an error, and North Carolina had an opportunity to turn a double play there and maintain the lead late in the game, and they ball kind of took a little bit of a bad hop, and they just couldn't do it, and it snowballed on them, and they get upset at home. It's a tough one to take if you're a Tar Heel fan, for sure.
Absolutely. I think you hit it on the head. Fool's gold. Those blowout wins. I mean, you want to win that first game. Maybe you'd prefer to win a 3-2 game versus an 18-2 game, so you wouldn't. I'm sure everybody in the park was like, "Hey, man, we're going to have an easy time with these guys on Saturday."
Yeah, and that's what happens. You let your guard down, and you almost feel like, God, 18-2. Should we just show up tomorrow and we're punching our ticket to Omaha? And I think early in the game, even in game two, they had the bases loaded, maybe nobody out, and couldn't get that big hit, and they had their opportunities. But yeah, it's full. Coaches say that all the time, use that term "fool's gold," and it was a fool's gold win for sure. And I was hoping they weren't going to let their guard down, and I'm not sure if they did. I just think Arizona played very well, played high level baseball, and they got some older guys in that lineup, and their pitching caught up with their hitting, and they're a formidable opponent for sure, and it's shaping up to be a good rematch, I guess, of the 2016 National Championship game between Coastal and Arizona.
Absolutely. And what about the matchup with Coastal Carolina, the way Coastal went down and handled their business against Auburn, 23 in a row, 53 wins overall? You've been there. You've been involved with those kind of numbers before. And what about this matchup with Arizona, and what about the job Coastal Carolina has done ever since you guys were the last ones to beat them?
Well, you got to give – Coastal's on a phenomenal run. I don't know if anybody wants to play them right now. They're pitching at a very, very high level. They got 3 starting pitchers in Morrison, Elkoff, and Fluke that are as good as anybody, and I mean anybody in the country. So they can match up with anyone, and it'll be interesting to see how they line up their pitching, because the games are spread out there, and will they use one of those 3 starters in the bullpen in one of those first 2 games, to try to get in the winners bracket. It'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But Coastal there's no weakness there. They've played defense at a high level. They're fielding close to 980 as a team. So they got the best catcher in the country behind the plate, who is phenomenal at getting his pitcher strikes that may be off the plate a little bit. He has a knack and an art. You want to be a baseball junkie and a baseball guru. Watch Caden Bodine catch on Saturday or Friday whenever they play their first game. It is a masterful job of catching and framing and making balls that are just off the plate look and appear as strikes to the umpire. He's terrific at it, and he's also leading their team in hitting. So there's just no weakness there. They play high level defense. They're pitching, like one of the nation's best pitching staffs, and it's not just their starters. Their bullpen is strong. What Hayden Johnson did to finish up the game, South Carolina boy at Auburn was in game 2 was incredible. But they got a number of different guys to go to late. There's no there's no weakness there, and they're playing at a very, very high level, hitters 1 through 9. So they're going to be a tough out for sure.
College of Charleston head baseball coach Chad Holbrook, also doubling as our baseball analyst here on Sports Talk, joining us again tonight. He'll be with us throughout the College World Series. And, Coach, you will remember the South Carolina staff when you guys went on that remarkable winning streak during the NCAA tournament. It basically just were unbeatable for about 2 years straight. Is it confidence? Is it playing? Do you start having luck bounce your way? I mean, what has gone into Coastal? Because they've beaten some really good teams during this 23-game winning streak. You have to be good, first off, but what is it about winning streaks in baseball that allow you to win as multiple games as South Carolina did when you were an assistant there and what Coastal's doing right now?
And it's easy to explain, and it's the hardest thing ever to obtain. And it's the feeling that you get that no matter what, you're not going to lose. And you have that feeling throughout the game, no matter how bad things look. It's just an innate confidence feeling that the ball's going to bounce our way. We're going to find a way to get it done, and we're going to find a way to win. And when something like a good fortune happens or a ball bounces your way, then it goes, see, told you. There's no negative thought whatsoever. And just there's a cockiness to it. There's an arrogance. There's an innate confidence that no matter what happens, it's going to go our way. They feel that right now, obviously, with the way that they're playing, and it'll be interesting to see if they maintain it. It's almost like some of these old timey coaches will say, momentum starts in the next round, in the next tournament. They've kept the momentum all year long through their conference tournament, the regional round, the super regional round. So it hasn't started over for them. They've kind of just kept building. And it'll be interesting though. Sometimes you get out there in Omaha and you start looking around, and Coastal, heck, the only time they've been out there, they won the dang thing. But Coach Tanner used to always tell us something, and it always rings true, and I'll never ever forget it. There's 8 teams in Omaha. 4 teams have a chance to win it, and 4 teams are out there just to enjoy the sights and to view the casino, go to the casinos and enjoy things. He goes, did you make sure when you step off that plane, we're one of those 4 teams that have a chance? And I think there's something to that, honestly, because some teams get out there and they're satisfied, it's the pinnacle, and they're looking around at the bright lights and they forget to play.
Yeah.
The teams that are out there that are all business and they're there to win it, those teams tend to stay the longest, and it'll be interesting to see which 4 of those teams. I've found myself every year trying to analyze who those 4 teams are from after round 1, just because of the old Coach Tanner thought that he always used to share with us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll ask you, and my guess is one of them is going to be in that awesome matchup between Arkansas and LSU, which I would assume will be the Saturday night primetime game. Is the winner of that in that group? And is the loser of that in that other group that they're just out there to have some fun and come home?
Well, I think those 2 teams are the most talented in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to win it. I would say the winner of that game is the favorite. Now, that's 2 heavyweights. I mean, they are. That's and you can tell a lot about what a team's mindset is sometimes by how they celebrate a super regional win. And both of those teams, it was ho-hum. It was like, hey, pat yourself on the rear. We're not dogpiling for this. This is about we're not celebrating until we win it all. And some people think that's a little bit of arrogance, and I think it's confidence and just keeping their goals in mind of what they're there to achieve. I feel like one of those teams will be the favorite. Just from a pure T talent standpoint, it looks like their mindset's in the right spot, and they both have 2 Hall of Fame great coaches. That being said, the other side of the bracket, Coastal's playing at a very, very high level, and UCLA's been there before. They got a coach that's been there and won a national championship too, and they have a pretty good recipe with how they play. The pitching and defense thing, and that tends to win out there as well, because you can't hit those balls out of the park out there. It's just such a big park, and every now and again someone will run into it, and sometimes that's the difference. But pitching and defense reigns supreme in TD America. Well, I guess it's Charles Schwab now. So I would and LSU and Arkansas, power arms, and I think Coastal's got an edge on the other side of the bracket with the way they've been pitching.
Well, I would say, I'm not taking anything away from anybody. Any 8 can rise up and win this thing. But if you ask me, I like where Coastal is in the bracket, not taking anything away from Arizona or Oregon State or Louisville, but I think I'd rather stay away from LSU and Arkansas as long as I can.
Yeah, and them having to beat each other helps the other six.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're going to beat each other up, and having them in the same bracket does give a sense of hope. And I'm not saying they're they're automatically going to win. They're not, but their pitching and their physicality. There's no weaknesses on those two teams, and you know, I mean, everybody's down on the SEC, and we said this last week. You know, the SEC's had a disappointing tournament, but they still could win the national championship, and I think it's a little bit less likely that they will because they're going to cancel each other out. You know, and if they were on the other side of it, if one was on one bracket and one was on the other, we would be sitting here talking about it's still going to look like an all SEC final, even though but that's not the case. They're going to have to play each other game one, and obviously both of those teams won't be in the final. But two great teams, two incredibly deep teams with dynamic position players, incredible pitching, Hall of Fame coaches, shaping up to be great entertainment for sure. Is it Saturday night, I believe, as well? That'll be a heck of an atmosphere because you're going to have two fan bases. That'll be like an atmosphere you haven't seen in the College World Series with Arkansas and LSU's fan bases out there.
One more, we'll let you go for tonight. Where did Louisville come from all of a sudden? I mean, they did not have a great regular season, a really good regular season, but not a particularly great regular season by their standards.
Right. You know, you got some good force. They played well late. They do have some decent pitching up front, you know. And that's the thing, that don't get caught up in analyzing who your three starters are. A lot of times you only need two out there, especially if you're on the bracket that plays first, because the first two games, if you win the first two, you get 3 off days. So you can you start analyzing, start trying to predict, all right, who the 3 starters are. Sometimes that third starter becomes a relief guy. And Louisville has 2 guys that are good, and they can beat, you know, going to Vanderbilt and beating Vanderbilt in that game, that kind of gave them a boost of confidence, and all of a sudden shifted things their way, especially when Miami upset Southern Miss. They got to play at home. So things have fallen in their lap a little bit. Now they've had to win, and they've had to play extremely well. But you know, after they beat Vanderbilt, they only had to beat them once because you know, Vanderbilt got upset there in the losers bracket game. So you know, they're hot right now a little bit too, like Coastal. I don't think they're as talented deep as Coastal is. I don't think they're as talented and as deep as Arkansas or LSU. But if they go out there believing, and they go out there with the mindset that, hey, we can win this thing because of the confidence they got from beating the number 1 seed, you know, they can go deep into the tournament as well. But if you sit here and you had to ask me, you know, I just have a feeling it might be Dave Van Horn's time. You know, I just, you know, generally a lot of times the game tends to reward those coaches that have paid their dues, been in it a long time, knocked on the door a number of times. He's obviously knocked on the door and had some great teams. Obviously was a pitch away from winning the national championship a couple years back when they lost to Oregon State. And yeah, if I had to guess, he'd say, you're going to hold me to it. Who's going to win it? Right now, I think Arkansas is going to come out of that one side of the bracket, and I'm going to stay with the hometown team, Coastal, out of the other side of the bracket. So Arkansas against Coastal, if I had to pick right now.
That would be awesome. Are you heading out there?
No, I would have been if the Tar Heels would have got it done. I'd have been out there to support my son and stuff. But you know, there's a lot of portal stuff going on. There's a lot of recruiting going on, and we got to make sure we put a team together that has a chance to be playing at this time next year. And you say that with, you know, as a grain of salt, but look, you know, Murray State's a mid-major. They're playing right now, and might punch their ticket to Omaha, you know, and obviously Coastal is another mid-major team that's going to already punch their ticket. So the one beautiful thing about college baseball is we all feel like we have a chance, and I think there's a purity about that, and I'm glad to see, even in the portal time, I'm glad to see some of those smaller schools fighting their way in there and having a chance to compete for the national championship.
Well, if it's okay with you, and I'll touch base, we can get you back Friday night to talk about that first game that will have been played and look ahead to that that game, second game Friday night and the weekend, if we can hook up with you again on Friday.
You can call me anytime, Phil. I'll be glad to talk with you about it. It's one of the coolest events in sports, and I can't wait to watch the great theater. It never disappoints, and the College World Series is so awesome. And obviously part of it is because we've all been out there and experienced it. But I look forward to seeing our teams compete. And, as a South Carolina guy, as a resident of this great state, I'm a Chanticleer fan this week. So I hope Coastal Carolina can go play some great baseball and do us all proud.
Outstanding. We thank you. We'll talk to you Friday.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Chad Holbrook getting it done on the radio. And I look forward to the day when he gets the college over that little hump that they just have not been able to get over, Been one team kind of standing in their way when they've had good teams, And they're not far away. They're not far away. And we'll be back.
Hi, this is Billy Downer from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Are you looking for a safe place to shoot your rifle or handgun? Did you know that the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources operates 4 manned ranges across the state in Pickens County, Spartanburg County, Richland County, and Charleston County? For more information on our public ranges, visit dnr.sc.gov/shooting.
The difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
All right, thanks again to Coach Holbrook. Thanks to Coach Schnall, 2 terrific gentlemen. We appreciate them taking time out to be with us here on Sports Talk. Let's update that game. It's 2-1 Murray State leading Duke, and they're in the bottom of the third. Got a few other notes. Got to get to our freshman question of the night, Bergie. Our freshman question of the night. For those who don't know, the plumber, Josh Cohen, finally graduated high school and is going off to college in the fall. He'll be going to the University of South Carolina, right down the street from Mom and Dad.
I'll try. See if I can get through the first semester.
So our freshman question of the night. You'll be staying in the dorm, but how many times a week will you go home for a meal or for clothes to be washed? Yes.
I'm paying like $2,000 a year for food at the school. Or maybe even a semester. I don't even know. Probably not going to go home for food. I'll probably try to stay home for the first month, though. Or I'll probably try to stay at my dorm for the first month and maybe go home after that. Maybe go home for football games. I don't know. Back to the house to go watch my Florida Gators play.
You'll be sitting in the stands at Williams-Brice.
No way.
Will your mom shed tears when you leave?
Probably.
Think she will?
No, he said he's.
No, I mean when you leave to go move into the dorm, you think your mom's going to cry?
My dad cried at my graduation.
Did he really?
First time I've ever seen him cry. So.
Oh, that's touching. Do we have video?
That's good for him.
No.
That's awesome.
We don't have any video of that?
I have video of me walking across the stage.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. That's good. All right.
And you didn't trip, right?
No, I did not.
Somebody that was going to pay you to fall on purpose.
No, but I did play rock, paper, scissors as I walked across the stage with my cousin.
Really?
Yes. And I won.
It's embarrassing.
No, it's not.
A few other notes. Former Clemson All-American Michael Dean Perry and former Clemson men's golf coach Larry Pendley be inducted into the Clemson Ring of Honor this fall. Clemson's ninth. Beg pardon?
I said well-deserved.
Oh, yeah.
Both of them.
Clemson's ninth. South Carolina's 14th in the final Softball America Top 25. Right-hander A.J. Smith Shawver today underwent Tommy John surgery for the Braves, and They had to reconstruct his ulnar collateral ligament in his right elbow. Going to miss the remainder of this season. The Brooklyn Casey football team will have its appeal before the appellate panel tomorrow at 10 o'clock. You can read more on that with the state.com, but right now their coach is facing a half-season suspension, and they've got other penalties. Coastal has the third best odds to win the World Series, according to Sports Betting AG. Arkansas is plus 175, LSU is plus 250. Coastal is plus 625, and Oregon State is plus 650. Tyler Miller.
Start times, real quick.
Go ahead.
Since we're on the College World Series, Kendall Rogers just tweeting out first 2 days schedule are out. Coastal Arizona first game on Friday, followed by Oregon State and Louisville, and then Saturday it'll be UCLA against Duke or Murray State, and as we anticipated, Arkansas LSU the nightcap on Saturday.
And that first game on Friday is what, 2:30?
2 o'clock, I think, our time.
2 o'clock, okay.
I believe that's right.
Tyler
2 and
Miller.
7, I think.
All right. Tyler Miller named the head baseball coach at Spartanburg Methodist College. And Barton College named former Clemson player and Limestone assistant Matt Padgett as their head baseball coach. So there you go with some final notes. Don't forget to participate in our poll question of the week, brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance. And that is the player of the year in South Carolina, the college baseball player of the year. Brett Bloomquist of North Greenville, Caden Bodine of Coastal, Cam Canarella of Clemson, Johnny Sweeney of Upstate. Those are the nominations. Some quick email or text messages. Tony from Lancaster, hey, Phil, you're talking trash about the SEC, but it was an SEC team that beat the mess out of them Tigers. He's talking about Clemson and Kentucky last week. We're just now catching up on some email. Let's see. Murray State. And that's too old to read. That was no good. Okay. This text message says, little late, but I need solar fans in the Portal Johns more than phones. Remember we were talking about Portal Johns?
Yes. I like his idea.
Need solar fans.
Would be nice.
I need to read these more on time. Some of these are from the end of last week. That'll do it. We'll pick back up on this tomorrow night, and we'll have another great show lined up for you tomorrow night as well. More from Coastal Carolina, too, as they get ready for Omaha. Thank you, Bergie.
Yes, sir.
See you tomorrow.
WQXL